And with that, we will go ahead and welcome in one of the sharpest editorial voices in the hobby today. Danny Black is the editor-in-chief of collectibles on SI, the hobby news and analysis vertical of the Sports Cards Nonsense Network. It's a platform that's quickly become a go-to source for trusted reporting, market insights, and long-form storytelling across sports cards, memorabilia, and the broader collectible world. So it is our pleasure to welcome back to the show, Danny Black.
What is going on, guys? Good to see you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for joining us. Whirlwind of a couple days, and the story that broke, and we'll get into that first, and then we'll go into some other things, that everything that's going on with Whatnot. And we've seen that Paul Lesko has filed some things that you'll tell us about, and he made his rounds. But we really want to get into the nuts and bolts of it for us people that don't really understand a lot of the jargon, a lot of the language, the difference between arbitration and lawsuits, and what comes of all those. Let's break that down a little bit in kind of layman's terms, so people really know what happened, or what didn't happen, for that matter.
Well, thank you for letting me explain it. First of all, what Paul did officially is file 15 complaints. These are not lawsuits. This is a complaint, which is a legal action, but it's not a lawsuit. And these 15 complaints are on behalf of 15 users of the Whatnot platform. And basically, the assertions in these complaints are wild, guys. I mean, you want to talk about shaking up the hobby. Everything from the accusations are operating like a casino against California law, backdooring information and hits, and just keeping it real simple. Basically encouraging people to use their platform more and more, putting tools in there, maybe to encourage people to bet more than they're comfortable with, or I guess the term is not bet, but they're being alleged for running the casino. When you buy a team in a break, you should be able to buy that team directly. The ability to randomize is what's really at the key of a lot of this. When Whatnot embeds the randomizer, what they're doing is providing a chance game, and it's that game of chance that makes it a casino. And what Paul's doing is trying to defend people that might be vulnerable, and to tell other people to pay attention to Whatnot's terms, conditions. They've changed those. They've put a lot of the cost back on the user if you take them to arbitration. So it's a very long filing that I read, but that's the short of it.
Danny, we've heard and seen everything from this will transform the entire hobby. It's groundbreaking. It's going to have major implications, all the way to people kind of shrugging their shoulders and saying, nothing's going to come of it. I don't expect that we have answers today, but what's your initial vibe of the impact of this?
Behind the scenes, I can tell you that I've heard from people that have used Whatnot before that won't use them again, and that's breakers and consumers. But more importantly, I think it's going to force change legally. And it may, quite frankly, I think Paul's doing a great job of putting media pressure on, and me included, and hopefully get some sort of settlement and get some basic things into the platform. In a casino, you can put yourself on a list, so you are not allowed to bet at that casino to help self-regulate yourself. Whatnot does not offer that, and it's a self-remove list. So hopefully some of these things can be put into place that would make changes for people who really do need them. And I'm one of the people that thinks that the changes are going to have a major impact on the breaking business online.
You say we, maybe it's just me. I know other people have seen it too, but I've seen it on some of the social media forums, the term racketeering get thrown around. Is that something that people should?
Did I lose you there for a second?
Maybe.
It was the most important thing he's ever asked.
No, I'll ask it again. So social media has a lot of buzzwords, one of them being racketeering. Is that something that has any gist to it?
It's a sexy word, isn't it?
Sure.
I'm not a lawyer. I did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. I don't want to be the one in any way to accuse a company of racketeering. That being said, the complaint specifically will be public record if it's not already. I did not check today. It's worth reading. And I'll leave it at that. There are things in there showing text messages and other very, very sexy stuff also.
That's the one thing. One of the guys that made a big post on X yesterday, without going into who it was, everybody knows who it was. Like, he said to read every single thing, every paragraph, and make your own decision. And that's one thing that I do agree on. He said, read it and make your own decisions and decide what's best for you if that's something that you want to take part in or not, right?
100%. And actually, I think that's good advice in general for anybody who's getting into any online break, anything like that. Know the rules, know the differences, understand exactly what you're getting into. But in this situation, reading that complaint is crucial. If you want to know the behind the scenes mechanics and the details of the allegations, that's where the meat is on the bone. And it's pages and pages of legal jargon, but it is worth it.
So what happens next, Danny, from a time frame standpoint? Is this something that gets resolved pretty quickly? Does Whatnot step up and settle whatever they need to settle, or is this going to get dragged out for a very long time?
My understanding is there's at least or approximately 15 more plaintiffs that are going to be filing arbitration. So this number is going to move from approximately 15 to approximately 30. And that'll be interesting, Jeremy. That's a great question. When it goes to 30 plaintiffs, you start getting into a category of tremendous pressure. And I can't imagine, knowing the hobby drama and knowing how much we all love talking about this, that it'll stop at 30. I think the negative feedback for any company in a situation like this might be too much to take. And I think that whatever the resolution is legally or otherwise, it can't be avoided.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out, because it will play out in front of all of our eyes. It's not something that's going to be happening behind the scenes. And listen, I mean, if people need to read it, they need to watch and be aware.
I mean, there are literally text messages from employees giving information to people. I mean, that's in there. I'm not breaking any confidences here. So when you see an actual text message from somebody to somebody else, that's real. I mean, that, if I'm entering into anything on any platform and I know that something like that exists, and if it's real, then that's a very scary thing.
So regardless of long-term implications for the hobby, it certainly seems it'll have short-term impact on Whatnot itself, the company. So good, bad, or indifferent, if perception is reality oftentimes, and if people start fleeing the platform, that will have financial implications. So we'll stay tuned on that. Certainly lots more to come. Check out the article on collectibles on SI, as well as additional stuff. So Danny, while we have you, what else is going on in the hobby world? That story obviously overwhelmed the masses this week, but the hobby's booming. There's lots to talk about. What's percolating in your world?
I think one of the biggest stories coming out of 2025 and looking into 2026 are the big sales that are going on. The Aaron Judge setting the modern card, baseball card record for sale. The Shohei Judge, did I just say the Judge record? But the Shohei Judge dual autograph card is going to probably break that record. And I think $1 million sales, or was a couple more Wagners. I think that's really the story going forward, is how strong that high end is for auctions. And I believe that will raise everybody. I believe the hobby is strong going forward. But recently, the Jim Irsay collection. If you're not familiar with this, look into the Jim Irsay collection. If you're into the collectibles world at all, a combination of sports, music, entertainment, no meteors that I'm aware of. I'm not sure. But they set some world records on guitar sales. And if you're a Grateful Dead fan, Jerry Garcia's guitar went for 12 or $14 million. And that was this past week. And the online, I'm not even sure if they finished yet, but that had some incredible items. And I encourage anybody who's a fan, if you like walking around shows or you like walking around and seeing, just pieces of history, that's what the hobby's about.
It's interesting you bring that up. I don't know if it was a year or two ago, we had a conversation with somebody about like pop culture and music memorabilia, and specifically things like handwritten lyrics. And when those types of things take off into the astronomical numbers of a $4 million Otani Judge card that could end tomorrow night or whenever it ends, like, and if it gets to 4 million, but like, how rare are things like that? And when does collectibles like handwritten lyrics start surpassing baseball cards?
Well, Jeremy gave the stat on grading of TCG already being far past sports cards. I'm not sure that we're not a lot closer than people realize. The hobby is very much a insulated bubble of baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer cards. And outside of that bubble is a huge collectibles world of non-cards. And I think that tickets were an entry, programs, hand used. I mean, game worn patches became huge. And to your point, Granny, handwritten lyrics. I mean, that's even a step closer to the person. It's more than just an autograph. It's the actual work itself that we've fallen in love with and watching it get created. So to me, I think that it's already a lot closer than people realize.
You guys look at a lot of undervalued segments and kind of finding the real underbelly and news of the hobby. In your opinion, what is undervalued these days, and what should people be looking out for outside of the glitz and glamour and the breaks? Where can they find real value?
Autograph cards, vintage Hall of Famers specifically, and they don't have to be expensive. I mean, if you think about a Craig Biggio autograph card, one day that's going to be a part of a great PC or something like that. That is the market that I think is going to grow tremendously. If you can afford somebody a little bit higher, fantastic. But a lot of times the condition of the card is irrelevant. And that's what makes it something that's affordable to go after. If you're going to a card show, you can bring a card that's a beater and get it autographed and have a very valuable piece. So I think autographed vintage cards are a huge market, especially in better condition and more expensive, obviously. But for regular people, there's still a ton out there that you can get, a ton of Hall of Famers that'll sign their cards. And I think that is the biggest growth area, is watching that segment of the vintage population.
It's a really interesting take because, in the TCG world, it's, Charizard's not going to break a leg or Pikachu's not getting a DUI. The vintage market and the Hall of Famers, they're done. Their careers are established. You know what their value are as opposed to the speculative market of the modern cards and active players.
100%. And if you look at somebody like Sandy Koufax, what he charges now for an autograph on a card, I think is something like $1,000. So, I mean, what will that price be in 30 years? If that's the get-in price in 2026, what's the get-in price in 2050? And when you look at, his career, or if you want to look at, Reggie Jackson, or there's so many, guys that we get to enjoy, and to take advantage of that, and to connect with them and actually walk up to them and get to meet them and get their autograph on a card is so cool and such an experience. And yeah, they're done. They're in the Hall of Fame. They had a great career, and you get to tell that story and pass it down. So you get the joy of the card itself, but you get that personal connection. And I think those connections and experiential things with athletes is where everything's headed.
So I guess Friday's the first official day of spring, and then we'll move to summer, and we'll get to Fanatics Fest and the National. And those two things are really the big culmination of the sports collecting world for this summer. Is there anything big on the horizon that people can look forward to, that's something when they go to this Fanatics Fest or the National?
Well, the World Cup finals are going to be in New York, the same time the Dodgers are playing the Yankees, the same time as Fanatics Fest. I would be pretty sure that other than driving an Uber, the most money you can make that week will be the Panini FIFA release, because the Panini still has the FIFA license that did not go to Topps. Excuse me, the World Cup license did not go to Topps. So Panini has that, and I think the Panini World Cup cards are going to go through the roof this year. So that's something I would definitely look for. But that whole weekend, Ohtani, Judge, we could see some real records on stuff. I think the hype between the World Cup, the World Baseball Classic, I mean, you've seen what the numbers have been on viewership and card liquidity. And if you fast forward that, and I think put it in Yankee Stadium with the entire world watching with the World Cup, next door, I just think that the hobby is going to be so strong this summer that it may be since the pandemic or even higher for a couple months. I really think what you talked about, Greeny, in that time period is going to be exactly when it's exploding.
And then right after Fanatics Fest comes the National, and I know that they already have record numbers of pre-sale tickets. And we saw record numbers the last couple of years, and even so much more this year. This summer for collectibles is probably going to be like no other that we have seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I think the interesting thing is the Fanatics Fest has done a good job of separating itself from what type of show it is, from what type of show the National is. And I don't need to tell the two of you, and you're going to talk much more about it when I'm gone, but every show has an identity, and enjoying the identity of that show and what that show is offering specifically allows you to enjoy each show. So if you're going to Fanatics Fest and the National, if you're going to both, there'll be a different experience. If you want to choose one or the other, there's no right or wrong. But I think both are great for the hobby, and hopefully I'll be at both. But either way, I get to play with a lot of cardboard, which is kind of fun.
I was going to ask you that, Danny, if you still enjoy the hobby, or because it's the day job, is it all just noise and you're sorting through it?
I think we were joking around earlier. After all the whatnot fun in the last couple of days, I pulled out my 57 set I'm putting together, and I just started filing cards and organizing. Good old fashioned, just baseball card love. All my raw beaters, putting the set together, and I still do that. And on top of that, I prospect like tennis players and really weird stuff. So I had a good mail day for a couple of days this week, and so I've got to enjoy that a little bit. So definitely still very, very much a card guy. I think all three of us would agree if we didn't have to work, we'd still play with cards.
No question.
100%. Well, Danny, we appreciate you joining us, especially giving us some insight on the news there. Let everybody know where they can find you and collectibles on SI on any given moment.
Yeah, absolutely. SI.com/collectibles. And personally, I'm Sports Balt, short for Baltimore, at Sports Balt everywhere.
And you got a team playing right now, USMBC or MBC, Baltimore, Maryland, whatever they are a 16 seed that has beaten a 1, and they're a 16 seed again in the first 4. So go enjoy that.
And they're top 10 in chess nationally. So I'll throw that out. Guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Danny, thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
There you go.
Take care.
Getting the breaking news you won't get anywhere else. The top 10
That's
chess
right.
team.
Top 10 in chess.